going to move into the next panel. So, but just before we move into that, I would like to say a word on behalf of the organizers of SDSN and so on. And is that we had this last panel in which there were no female participants, and we wanted to present our excuses because of that, and also explain that 3 women were invited to participate in this panel, but the 3 of them had complex agenda that they could come. Okay, so we also know that here in engineering, at least I can give figures of this school. We have 30% of female engineering students here at Industriales. Faculty members, we are only 20%. And due to the complexity of the agendas and that, well, we are not so many female engineers yet, it's not so easy to get panelists. But we are very aware of this issue, and we present our excuses to the community, okay?
Okay, so we are moving to the very last session of today, the last technical session, dealing with something that being in Madrid makes a lot of sense. It's about cities. We have heard before that half of the population nowadays, more than half, lives in cities. It's a big challenge to keep this sustainable, and the prospects are that 2/3 of the humankind will be living in cities by 2050. The Zero Cities is a wonderful idea. It basically means that there is no emissions, no carbon footprint after all. There are several principles to take into account and many kind of theoretical ideas on how to move into this direction, from promoting recycling and voluntary simplicity to networking and connecting different areas of activities that are typically addressed separately. So, Ruth.
So I will present the moderator of this panel, who is Niccolo Aste. And he's a full professor in the Department of Architecture, Built Environment, and Construction Engineering in Politécnica de Milano as well. And together with Niccolo, we have on stage 5 speakers: Claudio Del Pero, Isidoro Miranda, Cristina Gamboa, Marique van Staden, and Pamela Lucia Bravo Ortiz. So if you would like to join us on stage.
So, everybody's here. Thank you for coming. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very proud to be here. I'm very happy to can share with you my passion for sustainability and also my concerns for our common future. You know, I'm a professor at Politécnica di Milano in building physics and energy systems, and above all, I'm an architect. So I am a black sheep in my scientific community. And people often call me engineer because energy, renewable energy, efficiency is a matter of engineers. And I say, oh, architect. And people are looking at me and say, yes, yes. So funny, engineer. Okay, nobody's perfect, but almost perfect are my panelists. So let me introduce my energy saving device. It's not working. This, the wrong button. So I'm an architect. The panelists are Claudio Del Pero, is a well-known face for me, a professor at Politécnico di Milano, he's an engineer, and Cristina Gamboa, CEO of World Green Building Council from Colombia, Isidoro Miranda, Managing Director of Lafarge Holcim, Spain, Marique van Staden, Director of ICLIS Bond Center for Local Climate Action and Reporting from Germany. And last but not least, Pamela Lucia Bravo Ortiz, Deputy Secretary of Environmental Planning and Information, City of Lima from Peru. And so, just a few slides to introduce the problem of sustainability and architecture. let's talk about evolutions and the evolution of the mankind, starting from the level of monkeys and coming at the upper level of Homo sapiens or sapiens sapiens. And the evolution and the progressive development of architecture has always accompanied the evolution of the mankind, starting from the cave to the wooden hut, to the brick house, to the modern international style building, to the contemporary architecture. But what is architecture? And in the common feeling, architecture is a form of art where the architect is a genius and he is conceiving, designing and creating a masterpiece. And this architecture is also able to change the image of a whole city, like in Bilbao with the museum designed by Frank Gehry. So there is the artist and there is the work of art. But very often the story is a little bit different. And the energy, problems and issues are taking over the architecture. And so in this case, you see that the technical plans are like a starship landed on the roof of the building. And maybe this was not the initial idea of the architect. Maybe the masterpiece was not, maybe it's not a masterpiece, but it was not conceived in this way. And if we look at the contemporary architecture, we can see some of the most beautiful buildings of the last decades, designed by Zaha Hadid, Norman Foster, Pei, Jean Nouvel, Renzo Piano, Fuxas, Tadao Ando, Libeskind, and Frank Gehry again. And what do these buildings have in common? Not the shape, not the style, not the genius of the designer. They are very different. What is the fil rouge which binds this building? The massive use of steel and glass. So the architecture is contemporary, but the concept is very ancient. They are greenhouse, and these buildings are responsible of huge thermal losses during the winter and heavy overheating during the summer. And the result of this contemporary, beautiful, magnificent architecture is this. If we think that our buildings and the building sector accounts almost for the 40% of the total energy consumption in the world, and of the related impacts, emissions, pollution, we understand that this architecture is not affordable for us. So in terms of evolution, maybe we have to rethink what we are. And maybe we are not so sapiens, but rather a little bit hypertrophic. So, I don't want to be like that. What about you? Thank you for your attention.